All right, hello, Liz. We're from Canon, Virginia. We're actually partners with CBI. We're from CITS Chesapeake. We do the customer support from over in that office. And we're here to just basically show our process in creating how-to videos. We found the need to support customers better with the videos, because usually, like, the first thing you do when you look for like instruction, like, where do you go? Like YouTube. You usually just look for it and type it in. And then we found like we were a little bit lacking in that part, so we implemented my team basically to kind of bring up that end of support for our video.
Basically make the videos that show you how to set up your product, how to connect it to wireless, whether it's a printer or a camera, how to transfer your images or use the apps. And so we have a background in tech support, and we work in the same building as all of the tech support for Canon. And so it makes it easy for us to know like what customers are calling and asking for help with and things like that. And instead of having thousands of customers call separately and answer questions, you can try to answer that one question with a video. So it's pretty efficient for us. So we're going to talk to you about our process and how we do the whole thing from start to finish, and also touch a little bit on how that has changed since we started working from home through the pandemic, because it makes it easy to replicate this process even if you're not in a studio environment, so you can kind of do it. I think we're going to start with a video that kind of introduces you to us and shows you a little bit of what our job entails.
The multimedia production team at CITS is a group of in-house professionals that are able to assist with a variety of projects. Whether that project involves filming a meeting that some employees might not be able to attend in person, or taking photos of new products for external clients, or creating how-to videos to be seen by millions of customers, they're able to quickly and efficiently meet changing business needs. They're devoted not only to helping our customers, but also our internal and external clients, as well as our business as a whole. In my role as a social media representative, I witnessed firsthand how helpful the how-to videos are for our customers. These videos can be viewed on YouTube or chatbot 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, giving customers troubleshooting and setup solutions whenever they need it. For customers needing help outside of call center business hours, or who own products that are no longer in support life, or who prefer to be able to pause and rewatch instructions, this can be a lifesaver.
Scheduling conflicts, remote workers, and a 2,000-mile gap between CITS locations can make sharing information to large groups difficult. Luckily, the multimedia team is able to step in and record meetings and assist in sharing them with whoever can't physically be in a room together. Aside from just filming meetings, they help take badge photos, make videos that educate employees on Canon initiatives like our balanced scorecard, and photograph and film on-site events like Bring Your Child to Work Day. They're always willing to step up to the plate and use their talents for whatever we need.
In just over 3 years, the multimedia team has made over 500 how-to videos that are approaching 10 million views. I'm impressed by how many videos are available. Our agents have access to these videos and can send them out to our customers through knowledge-based articles. Doing so allows the agents to reassure the customers that support is available without waiting for an agent to pick up or sitting through a long phone call. The multimedia production team always welcomes video suggestions from the agents. They know the agents are the front line of our Canon customer support and can offer a wealth of information to our customers.
The Learning and Development Department really appreciates the assistance we get from the multimedia team. We regularly work with them to create the components we need for training. They assist us with taking photos, creating graphics, recording and editing voiceovers, and lend their technical knowledge to whatever issues we may struggle with when we're making learning modules. Partnering with them really makes our job easier and the lessons we're trying to teach more effective.
So that's basically what we do in a nutshell.
Before we start telling you our process for our basic how-to videos, which is what we do the majority of, we wanted to show you like a minute of one of them, just that you kind of visualize what we're talking about for telling you the process.
So this is a recent video that I did. You actually see this setup right here. This is how I filmed the back of this camera to show you what's going on in the video. I'll play up a minute of this video. We just recently uploaded this on YouTube, so it's searchable right now.
In this video, we'll show you how to connect your Canon R-Series camera to your compatible mobile device using the Canon Camera Connect app. Let's get started. First, make sure your phone or tablet is not in airplane mode and that Bluetooth and Wi-Fi are on in the device's settings screen. From the App Store, download the Canon Camera Connect app on your iOS device. If you have an Android device, you can download the app from the Google Play Store. Please follow the on-screen instructions to complete the installation. Now let's connect your camera. First, make sure a memory card with images is inserted in the camera. Then turn on the camera. Make sure your camera's date, time, and time zone are correctly set up before proceeding to the next step. Press the Menu button and go to the purple Wireless Settings menu. Make sure Bluetooth and Wi-Fi settings are both set to enable. Bluetooth is a low-power system that allows continuous connection between the camera and mobile device even when you're not actively recording. Wi-Fi is a stronger wireless connection.
This gives you an idea of how-to video, and it shows you the exact setup on how I got this shot. Just a cobbled up together rig that I found in my house, and just put it together to easily film this. And also, I did a menu simulator of this camera using the same exact setup. You just move it closer and you just take pictures of the screen. Set it up that way.
In this video, we'll show you how to connect your Canon R-Series.
So the first step to our process for any video that we make would be a design brief. What this is basically a contract that's going to set an expectation for what we're doing, like how many videos there are, what the timeline is for the videos, who's going to be providing the graphics for voiceover, the hand modeling, all of that kind of stuff. We need to establish who the subject matter experts are if we have any questions in the process. So we'll have to find someone who works well with this particular camera in case we have any questions over scripting and things like that. So the first step is the design brief. And when we're done, we have a few over there that are blank if you want to take a look at them and fill any out or anything. But yeah, this sets a timeline to tell you like how long it's going to take, what the budget would be, how many billable hours, things like that. So this is step one of the process.
And step two is scripting. Like any other video project, you definitely need a script and a storyboard. So for every single step that we do, we try to get a reference to a picture, like the back of the camera. We want to show each step before we proceed. And once we're actually finished with the script, we send it over to one of our in-house engineers so they can verify all the steps. That way we're not missing anything. So this is like one of the most important parts of the process, because without this, we're not even gonna start recording anything. Similar to any other video production, you definitely need a script and a storyboard so you can proceed further. And you can see like my like the GRSS sim there. Those just represent like on slide number the first column here. That's graphics. So we're gonna create a graphic intro that you saw in the beginning of that video. And then graphic here, sim is a simulation capture of either a computer screen capture or a cell phone tablet capture. And SS means a studio shot. So this would be a studio shot right here.
There are blank templates in front of you on the tables too, so it can go there. All right, so after we have gone through and made our script, that has to be approved by legal to make sure that everything is good, and it also needs to be approved by our engineers, like Paula said, so that we know that everything is technically accurate. We're not telling anyone the wrong steps. And then I record the audio. So in doing that, I have a setup. You can see over here. I have a microphone with a windscreen, some kind of buffer meter. It's quiet. I record right onto a Zoom recorder that has an SD card in it. And then of course headphones that I can hear the the challenges of this, especially being at home, where they have to make sure that there is not like an air conditioning on, no fan on, no dog snoring from the couch next to you, no traffic going by, anything like that. And then once I have everything recorded, then we use Adobe Audition, and I have a workflow that I go through there to make sure that I get out all the background noise and everything, clean it up, make it a little better. So I have samples of what it sounds like before and after. So you can hear that the audio is adjusted.
Hopefully process through here.
In this video, we'll show you how to connect your Canon EOS digital SLR camera to your compatible Android device. Let's get started. In this video, we'll show you how to connect your Canon EOS digital SLR camera to your compatible Android device. Let's get started. In this
I touched on a little bit of the product filming part. Basically, it's a complete 180 from when we're in the studio to where set up in the house. Like this printer right here, this is one of our older projects. And I had a corner of the room where I had to basically set up a C-stand small backdrop compared to how we have a big backdrop there in the studio. And basically, make sure everything is clean, screens are clean, dust free. And
yeah, so we went to being in the studio to being at home. We had to, of course, change the lighting and things like that. So being in a home environment, that all had to be a little bit different. But essentially, we tried to make it look the same, so you can't tell the different where we're shooting it in any of our videos, whether it's the studio or at our home location. But it always has a white backdrop, and then we have to make sure it's well lit. And like Paula said, we typically use a reference monitor to make sure that there's no dust on the screen, no fingerprints on the screen, or anything like that. When you're shooting a camera or a printer, sometimes it's hard to see just visually because it's so tiny. But once you blow it up on a big monitor, it's very obvious that there's a piece of dust right in the middle.
Yeah, and when I'm at home, like I don't have the luxury of that monitor, so it's really hard to tell if there's dust here. So I have to like very diligent and like blowing off all the dust from the screen, just so that it doesn't magnify when you are zooming to the.
Every time you tap on the back of the camera or on a printer, you get a fingerprint on it. Make sure you put it off before
That's why you notice on the video, like when I was going through the menus, I'm not using the touchscreen on this. I'm just using the dial here, so I don't mess up the screen when I'm going through the menus, because I don't want to be cleaning that every single time I'm like taking a shot or doing a take on that. And if you have any other questions or explaining things, don't be shy.
The next thing we do is simulation capture. So instead of filming us at a computer, going to whatever website we need to go to, we just do a screen capture of that. And the same goes for when we're using a mobile device to show how to use an app or a mobile version of something. The problem with doing this on a mobile device, of course, is that when you screen capture, you can't see someone pressing a certain spot. The screen just changes. And so in order to direct attention to where we're going, we film the screen. We then have to add a graphic of like a button click to make sure that people know exactly what we tapped on. So when we do this part, we film the screen, and then typically we just have like an overlay or a template when we edit that looks like a camera with the center cut out, and we just put what we've recorded right in the center, so it looks like you're looking at it.
So the graphic overlay, for some reason, Apple doesn't like anything getting overlaid on their stuff. So we can't overlay any graphics on Apple products, apps, etc. But once we go on Android and all the Canon apps that we have, then we're able to put markers on it and highlight stuff so that you know exactly what we're putting on. So it's just a sign up there.
Okay, pay attention to the brands that you're working with, make sure that you're not interfering for anything that's illegal. So like Paula said, we can't change or blur or modify anything on like an Apple screen, but we can of course the Canon apps.
So graphics, I'm sure you're familiar with After Effects. We don't go too heavily deep on this since we're not producing a motion picture, but we do all the intros, etc. within After Effects. It's just an easier method to do that. All of our other graphics wise comes from Canon USA. They just provide us with like stock photos stock images. Let me just use that. And we just manipulate that, like this picture here. We just easy Photoshop, take off the background, and we just animate it here. Graphics side of things.
Right, so once we have all of our components recorded, we can then edit, which we use Premiere for. We have a standardized way of editing to make sure that we're on the same page. So we organize our project every time in the same way. We have different bins created for our freeze frames, our audio, our sequences, things like that. So it's all organized the same way that if we need to fit into someone else's project, we know where to find each component. So we put it on, we just edit linearly.
And also, when you set up the folders, you set it up also in Windows. You can either set it up in one folder if it's like a small project. That way, everything's in the audio, video, graphics. If it's a huge project, like a multi-video series, sometimes it helps to separate them all into just like a video folder, audio folder, etc. Because I had a project back then, it was 20 videos and different products, and if you stuff them all in one video project, it's gonna get so convoluted. And also, I also find that Premiere sometimes bogs down when you have too many sequences open and too many basically things it tries to pull in from different sources into just one project. So I find it just split it up if you have multiple projects and then go from there. That's number one. If you lose a file, I mean, you can easily search for it, but that takes up a lot of time in looking for your file. Number one, just be organized. And last thing here I'm going to talk about is once we have everything on YouTube, we need to have a way to keep track of how our videos are doing. I keep track of the analytics. We're technically like YouTube, what do you call those? YouTubers. So we keep track of our analytics. We see like what the thumbs up, thumbs downs are. And based on that, we look at the performance of that video and see what people are looking at. Comments, number one thing. They always say like, we like this video, or they usually comment like video suggestions. We'd like to have this video, that video. And for the comments part, we have a social media team that looks through these. So if they see something like a super like a super high level request that everyone keeps commenting, they usually flag us to look at this and see if we're able to produce a video for that specific request.
Yeah, the comments let us know like if people are having trouble at all with the setup, or if they found an easier way to do it, or if anything needs to be modified. So we do keep an eye on those. And they also tell us a lot like where to go next, or we need to know what videos to make next. A lot of people say, oh, this is great, but I wish I knew, like I can now print with my printer, but I wish I knew how to scan. So then we'll know when enough people ask for that and direct us where to go.
Yeah, and the recent video I did, there's a section on it where we have the Camera Connect app. It's just been recently updated. So that's why I produced 2 videos for this specific camera to cover the brand new version of the Camera Connect app. So now what I'm going to be doing next is looking for all the older videos where we have the Camera Connect app highlighted in that video. So we're going to create a card that the viewer can click on, so it will take them to the new version of that.
Yeah, so if anything is outdated, they just be redirected to a newer video that's outdated.
Because keeping the older video there does keep the metrics in, so we know we keep the analytics still intact, and we can actually see within the analytics if they're clicking the card to see if you're paying attention and actually wanting to see the updates. So right now we have another group of analytic group. the group of videos that I added the card on, and then I'm constantly watching that just to make sure people are clicking on that. And questions?
I have a question about the audio. When you showed the unedited and the edited audio, what particular thing did you have to do with it? Was it sounded louder to me, made it clearer? Were there multiple effects, or did you just?
I have 7 or 8 effects that I do every time. I can tell the group what they are having in my house. All right, so I run a multi-band compressor, a parametric equalizer, a hard limiter, an adaptive noise reduction, a noise reduction, and then match loudness. Now, all of these things are what I use specifically when I'm filming in my home environment because I know what it sounds like in my house. So they kind of need to be tweaked a little bit, but essentially I'm trying to make sure that it's not tinny. I'm trying to make sure that my teeth are not popping when I'm saying, some creature, you don't hear that too much, so things like that. So it's really just cleaning up that audio and maintaining background noise. But also it's setting the volume so that it's consistent every single time.
Yeah, and right before you do all that, I'm sure there's a how-to video on YouTube on how to do this, but what we do is we record like 10 seconds of silence before and after, and then we use that silence as like as a silence generator, and we process that throughout the whole audio. Yep. And once we get all the noise out of that audio sample, then we can proceed with the other effects. But there's definitely a lot of tutorials on that. But that's the number one thing. You want to clean up the audio first to do a 10-second sample of complete room tone, basically.
And so basically, so you go and you use those effects, getting rid of all that stuff, and then the voice part of it matches up to that. But that's kind of like your control. Okay.
Another trick, sometimes when I do the timeline, some people, they throw in the unedited and then edit the audio first. Usually we just edit the whole thing.
Okay.
And then I cut it up later. And then if there's like a tweak that I need to do, just right click, go into Audition, and then just tweak it a little bit. Because the timeline on Premiere is not as like detailed. You can move the slider. It's more detailed in Audition.
Okay.
So a frame in like Premiere, you can move it more in Audition. There's more like on that.
That's really helpful.
Yeah. So yeah, if you're struggling in Premiere to like cut off like a P, throw that into Audition, and then you can
Much more precise.
much more precise. Any other questions? Oh, this is our YouTube channel. At the bottom there, you wanna click that down and check it out. If you have anything going on with the printer or camera, you can find stuff on how to solve it, fix it, or leave a comment. Someone will contact you and help you out.
We do have some things set up, so if you want to go around and look at the cameras and ask questions about how we have it set up for the audio area, that's fine. We also have blank documents over there. If you want to see like a sample script if you want to print it out, or blank templates
So,
for design brief or anything.
Yeah, quick thing on the equipment here. This is the 5D Mark III. This is the R7. If you're interested in seeing that, it's one of our newer cameras. That's the C300 Mark II, one of our cinema cameras, and a reference monitor. Yes.
You guys do any color grading in post?
We do. Unfortunately, I can't use that,
Yeah.
but we do use the Spider to calibrate our monitors. And we just do it within Premiere through Lumetri.
I was gonna ask if you use After Effects or Premiere for that.
Just Premiere. Yeah. We just find it easier since everything's on the same timeline. I don't want to throw it into another like After Effects and then use up that resource to do that. I mean, we're just doing like I said, we're not doing Hollywood type stuff. We just need simple color correction, and the lumetri is like plenty for what we do. Or you can use Apple if you're an Apple editor. Final Cut. I use that sometimes. And then just use that color corrector. It's actually really powerful. I like it. I like the color corrector in Apple that I use. To each their own. Yep.
What's your favorite part about making videos for a living?
You get to play with all this stuff and put all your talents and what you love doing into what you actually love doing. Basically.
I think that my favorite part, honestly, is that I'm helping so many people at once. It was frustrating to be doing tech support at a certain time where I was getting to know the product. I felt like I was answering the same question over and over and over again.
Yep.
And this way I can really just help a lot of people at once. And it's like something that took me, a couple of days to make. Now, years later, still helping people who have their
Saving
products.
people
So that's
time.
really satisfying to me.
Yeah, even though it's an older video, the concept is there, the process is there, and like I said, we can always update that later on. So help people with that. If you have no other questions, I'm going to move this there, and then we can have a here talk over there. If you have any questions with these stuff.